Mark Sanford and his University of Washington pals are on a business trip this week, trying to do something that hasn't been easy. Win on the road in the Pac-10. If they want to be playing the second week of March, they better play the last week of February. We welcome you to the University Activity Center. We're here in Tempe at the ASU campus, and tonight the hometown Sun Devils play host to the Washington Huskies. And hello again, everybody. Barry Tompkins once more with my partner George Raveling. They're all excited here, and I'll tell you what, it's the Washington Huskies who really need to be excited, Rav, because they simply have to win. Home, road, doesn't make any difference. There's no tomorrows.
You're unquestionably right, Barry. This game represents for Washington a should-win a game. After this, Barry, it's awfully tough. Arizona, USC, UCLA, if they win those three, they deserve to be in the NCAA tournament.
You know, the fact is, in Arizona State, they kind of get a scare card here. This is a team that hasn't been winning. They've lost 7 games in a row, but they've been close, and you know, somewhere they're going to jump up.
Well, in talking with Bill Frieder earlier, he said he's actually pleased with his team's play recently. The margin of error, the difference between winning and losing is about that narrow right there, Barry, and perhaps tonight might be upset city.
And whether or not Washington gets into the NCAA tournament may not be decided by what they do on Sunday against Arizona, but they better win today against ASU. We're coming back. And we welcome you to the University Activity Center here in Tempe, where tonight the Arizona State Sun Devils will try to get themselves righted. They want to end on a high note. There's no question about that. And the Washington Huskies, who have struggled on the road, as every team in the Pac-10 Conference, it seems, well, as we said, I mean, they just are out of tomorrows. They pretty much feel that they have to run the table. Bob Bender, I think, Rav, has done just a terrific job here. And what's left then is to get on with it. To do that, we'll go to the PA announcer, Jeff Scott. Jeff?
For the Washington Huskies, starting at forward, a 6'9" junior from Dallas, Texas, number 3, Mark Sanford. At forward, a 6'4" senior from Porterville, Missouri, number 23, Jamie Booker. At center, a 7-foot sophomore from Winnipeg, Manitoba, number 50, Todd McCullum. At guard, a 5'10" junior from Elizabeth, New Jersey, number 5, Jan Wu. And at guard, a 6'4" freshman from Del City, Oklahoma, number 21, Dean Luton. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the starting lineup for the Sun Devils of Arizona State University. At forward, a 6'8" sophomore from Los Angeles, California, number 24, Mike Batiste. At forward, a 6'5" senior from Riverside, California, number 34, Quincy Brewer. At center, a 6'7" senior from Freeport, the Bahamas, number 44, Roger Farrington. At guard, a 6'1" freshman from Union City, California, number 5, Eddie House. And at guard, a 6'3" junior from San Dimas, California, number 21, Jeremy Veal.
Bill Frieder, a guy who really is a little bit frustrated with what's been going on, and he says, you know, my team really hadn't been playing that badly. We're just not winning ball games.
Well, it's been an awful difficult year for Bill. This will be the first time that he's coached a team that's finished in last place, if in fact they end up in last place. And it'll be the first time that ASU's ever ended up in last place in the Pac-10.
Bob Bender, on the other hand, has led Washington to its best record since 1985, as he has won 16 games. And, you know, Bob really is, and it's a cliche, but Bob really is a play 'em one at a time kind of coach. I remember talking to him a couple of weeks ago. He said, we're just trying to get to 14. Well, now he's at 16, and what he really feels he needs to do at the very least is get to 18. That would give him 11 wins in the conference. Let's take a look at our Burger King key matchup in this ball game. Todd McCullough and Roger Farrington, two guys who will play down on the block. Actually, it's interesting to me, the Washington coaches feel that ASU will play zone most of the way.
I don't believe that they will. I think that they'll play man-to-man. On the other hand, Washington's strictly a man-to-man team.
Brewer to the basket, and Quincy Brewer has just made one of the miracle recoveries, I'll tell you that.
The one thing I noticed immediately, Barry, is that ASU opened up in a spread offense. They really have created big gaps in Washington's defense.
Roger Farrington, we talked about what a shot blocker he is, and that'll light a fire under this Arizona State team. That's his 111th career blocked shot. And someday he's going to learn to keep it in bounds, huh?
Well, and one reason that they didn't put Farrington on McCullough is so that he can come to the help position and block those shots, and also deny McCullough the ability to pivot toward the baseline.
They're going to grab on Booker reaching in, and Booker really has been the catalyst for this Washington team. He's not a guy who does all those things that show up in the statistics, but in the last 3 games, he's held Ed Gray of California, the leading scorer in the conference, 6 of 17, 17 points. Ike Fontaine of Washington State, 7 of 15 points. And Brevin Knight, 3 of 16. Knocking that one in is Eddie House. And so Sun Devils, that's only a 2. Sun Devils get out very quickly here.
Eddie House continues to make a statement that I deserve total consideration for the All-Pac-10 All-Freshman team.
And Mark Sanford knocks one down, and when he can knock down the perimeter shot, that makes him that much more effective.
I think that part of Bill Frieder's game plan is to make Mark Sanford shoot the ball on the perimeter. Keep him in front of you. Don't let him go to the basket. Make him beat us with jump shots.
If you've got to go out and defend him out there, he's going to get around you pretty quick.
No question about it. We sound like we've guarded him, Barry.
That's right. Sanford had 16 points in the first half of that big win against Stanford. And a nice look that time from Sanford to McCullough.
The two teams that really exploit the high-low pass in their offense are Washington and Stanford. They're masters at the high-low pass.
One thing I really like about McCullough, he never brings the ball down. And as a result of that, he gets a shot off very quickly for a big man.
Bob Binder's done an excellent job of coaching Todd McCullough.
Little finger roll from Veal, it won't go, and Sanford with a rebound. Sanford will push it. That's Luton on the wing to the basket. Little hard, Brewer with a rebound. And Luton runs up his back.
On the last possession, Barry, as Jeremy Veal went to the basket, I think he anticipated that Todd McCullough was going to slide in and try to block the shot. And as a result, he finger rolled the shot instead of taking it right to the hole.
Jeremy Veal, who really has played extremely well down the stretch here and being asked to do a lot of things. Batiste, now those guys been going the other way. He's about 75%. You can see that big brace on the knee. He had knee surgery, arthroscopic surgery shortly before the season. And was just not 100%. It was tailed off toward the end of the year. Luton sticks a 3.
That's his specialty, three-point shooting.
Donald Watts, incidentally, who has not played the last couple of games, that's the reason Luton is starting, is available. We expect we will see him, but he is not starting. There's Veal for 3, and everybody's knocking him in.
Both teams have started off in a comfortable rhythm.
Wood played very well down the stretch against Brevin Knight and Stanford also over the weekend. Got a foul underneath. 3 seconds is the call.
We take a look at ASU's offense. They trying to bring McCullough away from the basket. They start Farrington high up every possession to get McCullough away from the basket.
Veal shot missed, and Sanford quickly to boards again. Book Booker from the corner for three.
I really like Jamie Booker's game. He's their most consistent player at both ends of the floor.
Brewer with a lane to the basket and one. The foul on McCullough.
I don't know if we're going to have a replay of that or not, but that's what is known in offensive basketball as a curl cut. And if you watch this curl cut, the reason ASU runs this curl cut is because Washington does not switch on the perimeters. And see, McCullough screened his own man off on that play, Barry.
The Brewers even become a better free throw shooter since the injury. I want to welcome those of you who've been watching baseball action, collegiate baseball action between two pretty good teams, Florida and Florida State. Watching a little hoops here. ASU and Washington, and both teams lighting it up early in this ball game. A 13-12 game with Washington ahead. Game that Washington absolutely has to have if they're to entertain any thoughts of the NCAA tournament.
Well, the Washington coaching staff guessed wrong as ASU opens up in a man-to-man and continues to play man-to-man.
Well, and so far it's working out okay. We'll take a timeout. Bob Bender trying to get things righted for his team. They lead by one. 15:32 remaining first half. Huskies 13, Sun Devils 12. 1 point ball game, 15:32 remaining first half. The Huskies over the Sun Devils, and Huskies right now spreading the wealth a little bit, George. So look at Donald Watts on the bench. We do expect to see him, as we said, normally the starting off guard for the Huskies.
I noticed that his ankle was very heavily taped, Barry, and during that timeout, he was bouncing during the entire timeout, trying to get that ankle loose in case he goes into the game.
Lamar Richardson with the ball in the ball game for the first time now. He does give some size to the Sun Devils. A big 6'8", wide 6'8". Veal, tough three. Get anything. Sanford with a rebound.
Todd McCullough forced Jeremy Veal to alter his trajectory on that shot.
Well, that's another good look from McCullough, or rather from Sanford. And McCullough on the third try gets it down.
And there was a great example of what you talked about, Barry, about the fact that he never brings the ball down in the rebounding process or in the shooting process. He rebounded that, kept it up high, and put it right back off his fingertips.
I remember Bob Bender telling us a couple of years ago that McCullough was a real project, don't expect much, and I think this guy has just come quantum leaps in a shorter space of time than I think even the coach thought.
Right now, he's patrolling that middle.
Farrington traveled before the basket. It's fair to say that the Huskies have spread the wealth with Sanford, Luton, and Booker have already hit three-point shots. Coming into the ball game now is Patrick Femerling. He's another 7-footer, very different type of 7-footer than Todd McCullough. And Donald Watts also into the ball game for the first time. Here's Watts.
Both teams are scorching the nets, Barry. They're both shooting 71% from the field.
Femerling off the lob, swatted away from behind by Richardson, but he also got Femerling with a body.
Number 44, Roger Farrington.
It was Farrington who was guilty of the foul, the second foul. And I believe the Sun Devils can really afford to get him into serious foul trouble.
And the Huskies continue to exploit the staple point of their offense, that high-low pass. What they do, Barry, is they clear out everyone along the baseline except for one of their 7-footers. They hit that high post, and they turn and dump it down.
So the Huskies by 5 now. Femerling gave Bob Bender some productive minutes in the win over Stanford up in Seattle over the past weekend. Travel again. A prejudice look from Farrington, third turnover. Bill Frieder is kind of playing the hand that's been dealt to him this year, just trying to come up a winner just once. Good hands that time as Jeremy Veal picks it off. 5-point Husky lead, 13:36 remaining. Femmerling down low, draws the foul once again. This time he got Lamar Richardson. Well, I think they're going to get it against Femmerling this time.
Defensively, Arizona State is playing a step and a half off of each man so that they can quickly give post help and keep the ball in front of them. They're going to force Washington to beat them with jump shots.
Each team with 4 turnovers in the ball game now. Garrett Kelly in the ball game for Bill Frieder too. And they're going to get Wooten on a grab here.
Stay here.
And Wooten saying, me? And Jerry White saying, yeah, you.
One of the big keys in this game for Arizona State will be rebounding. Every team they played in the Pac-10 so far, except 2, have out-rebounded.
Jeremy Veal and Donald Watts right in Veal's pocket here. To the basket was Jeremy Veal. Good effort. Good clock management by ASU also.
The Sun Devils are doing an excellent job of forcing Washington's big defenders away from the basket.
That's 5 for Jeremy Veal. Remember, against Washington last time these two teams hooked up, he went for a career-high 30. Outscored the Huskies single-handedly in the second half.
Barry, if you notice on every possession for ASU, they take Washington's big man and they force him to come up to the top of the circle to play defense. There's Femmerling up there at the top right now.
Brewer looks low this time, and I think they're going to kick and a reset. Batiste for 3. That's a 2. They say, and it's put on the line.
The only thing you worry about if you're Bill Frieder is that Batiste doesn't realize that's fool's goal. You hit a 3 like that, Barry, and then all of a sudden he thinks this is my night. He'll shoot the Sun Devils out of the game.
He's got 4 right now. Will careless turnover off the pass from Wooten intended for Samford. 5th turnover of the ball game. Thompson comes into the ball game for the Huskies. Chris Thompson, that is, replacing Jan Wooten at the point guard spot. Thompson was a starter much of this season.
I continue to be amazed at and the players of the 90, how often they try to catch the ball with one hand, Barry. That's what happened with Mark Samford. He tried to catch that basketball with one hand, and he lost it.
I'll back it out again. Frieder obviously wants to use some of the clock here. 10 seconds on the shot clock, rejected by Femmerling for Donald Watts. That's a case of a very good rejection, too, because he kept the ball in play for his own team. Samford at the free throw line. House the rebound.
My belief is they'll let Mark Samford shoot that jump shot all night long.
House over Thompson. Femmerling the rebound.
Arizona State failed to send one single player to offensive rebound on that possession.
A lob for Samford, and Batiste ran into it.
Foul number 24, Mike Batiste, his first 14th foul.
And with that, we're going to take a timeout as you look at that. Batiste just coming up over the top of Samford, who dropped down on him. 10:54 remaining first half, 1-point ball game. Huskies 17, Arizona State 16. We're coming back right after this. Dogs by 1, 10:54 remaining here at the University Activities Center. There's a look at Dick Van Arsdale, Vice President of Player Personnel for the Phoenix Suns, taking copious notes here tonight.
Well, I'm certain that one of the players he's looking at is Mark Samford.
I want to welcome those of you who've been watching the Rockets and the Hornets. We're watching college basketball. The Huskies and the Sun Devils. Dogs lead it by a point. 10:46 remaining first half.
Chris Thompson is putting on a dribbling exhibition out there. But what's bad about it, he was going nowhere.
Side to side, and there's a foul on Quincy Brewer.
Reminded me of one of the kids at summer basketball camp working on his dribbling.
Booker behind a Sanford screen, now puts it on the floor, and it's swatted away by Brewer from behind. Big time play by Brewer, nice save by Sanford, good look by Femerling to Watts. Nice sequence by the Huskies.
Very alert vision. Nice hustle down by Mark Sanford, and the ball quickly moved to the open man for an easy basket.
Mark Sanford playing very unselfish basketball this year. Bob Bender was telling us what a different player showed up after declaring for the NBA draft. Might have realized maybe I'm not quite ready for that yet. He came back anxious to learn, anxious to become a team leader.
He said he wanted to model his game after Scottie Pippen. He felt that Pippen was a star, and yet he plays a supporting role on his team.
You bet. If you play with 23, you play a supporting role. That guy Jordan can play. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, in '84, I began to notice with this '84 Olympic team that he was just a little different than the other 11 players. I'll never forget a guy from the LA Times asked me in '84, he said, George, how good is Jordan? I said, well, he'll go down in history alongside of Bob Cousy and Jerry West and Oscar Robertson. He says, George, no way the kid's that good.
Well, I hope he stands corrected. Ooh! Bodies everywhere, and that's a jumping travel. I've never quite seen that call like that.
With that tall timber in there, you've got to give that body fake. To be honest with you, I do not think that was a walk. He put the ball on the floor to set the move up.
Nice reverse by Sanford and a crossover dribble to set it up.
That's when he's absolutely at his best, when he can put the ball on the floor and slash, and when he's running the lanes. Mark Sanford is a much better player in transition.
Too high off the glass by House. Here come the Huskies again. Got the numbers 4-on-2. Watts waits for help. Now Thompson will back it out. Sanford. Want to welcome all of you watching on Fox Sports South here in Phoenix, or Tempe actually. It's a 21-16 ball game. The Washington Huskies, who have been in front virtually from the outset. The Sun Devils kind of hanging around. Bob Bender, Washington coach, watching his team about to inbound the ball. Bill Frieder trying to break a 7-game losing streak, unprecedented for him since he's been here at ASU.
The real pressure point in ASU's defense is at the point position. They really put a lot of pressure on the point guards.
Well, they left Luton open, and Luton said, should I take this? Why not? And did. His second three. Sanford again. Sanford's just doing all those little things. Race to the basket, forget it. Sanford's having a nice game here. And remember, this is a guy who on occasion has disappeared on the road. So he really is a guy with something to prove right now. And he's proving it.
He does an excellent job of reacting from defense to offense. He gets out in the lane. This is a clear example of what we're talking about. The ability to quickly transfer from defense to offense. He has long strides, and he's probably one of the best finishers in the Pac-10 Conference.
Well, and the other things he's done today, he made that little defensive play, then finished it at the other end. He's made a couple of nice low post passes. And what he's done is led his team to a 9-0 run over the last 2 minutes and change.
As you watch ASU's offense, you'll see that there are ample opportunity for Washington to get the fast break going because they have an imbalance in their offense, Barry.
Quincy Brewer set up that basket for Baptiste. And that breaks a long run.
And Washington's really not a fast-breaking team, Barry. Most of the time when they fast break, it's because they see a welcome sign.
Donald Watts missed everything with his first three. A little adrenaline pumping through him. I think Brewer really gives a whole different dimension to this team. Gets everybody else playing harder. I think Farrington misses everything.
That was what I call a whoosh jump shot. I wish this would go in.
And the coach is thinking, I wish he hadn't taken it.
He's thinking, I wish he was sitting beside me.
Little lob to McCullough, and there's exactly what we were talking about, Rev.
He's very fundamentally sound. He does a great job of using his body. That's 8 points for him. Where his success starts offensively is with his ability to set his man up and seal him.
This guy played on the Canadian junior national team and got some valuable experience there. Farrington, nice move to the basket off the glass.
Well, they say Ty McCullough weighs 280 pounds. If they weighed him on a produce scale. Chris Thompson has a tendency to over-dribble.
It's another good look, and again, McCullough did well just to get the ball up, but well defended that time by the Sun Devils. Baptiste off the dribble.
That wasn't a forced shot. I've never seen it.
That's exactly what you were talking about before. Makes a couple, and then all of a sudden he thinks he's perimeter shooting.
All of a sudden he thinks he's Michael Jordan.
I really do think McCullough, well schooled, and just the way he catches the basketball, forced that foul on Baptiste.
At this juncture in the game, it's obvious that Washington is going to build their offense from the inside out, and it's now incumbent upon Arizona State to make a defensive adjustment. They cannot continue to play behind Todd McCullough and hope that they're going to stop him with the help coming down from the top.
McCullough now with 10 points, perfect at the line. That's the other thing about the big man is he has a very nice stroke at the free throw line, and he's going to beat you there too. Huskies lead it by 10, 5:54 remaining, first half. We're coming back. Huskies lead it by 10, 5:54 remaining, first half. Let's take a look at some of the Pac-10 conference leaders brought to you by the United States Army. Be all you can be. Carlos Daniels being all you can be for his team, but Mark Sanford played in this ball game, 7.5 rebounds a game. Todd McCullough up there, and Mike Baptiste also amongst the leaders in the Pac-10 in rebounding. And Sanford right now will get a little blow, and he has been very productive so far in the ball game. Chris Walcott replacing. Walcott's getting more minutes for Bob Bender as the season goes on.
The style of offense that Arizona State plays will allow Todd McCullough to play big minutes in this game because it doesn't put him at risk to commit fouls, Barry.
Lamar Richardson with a nice little baseline turnaround, his first basket of the ball game. Thompson, the floater. Thompson's starting to look to shoot a little bit more. He was a guy who did not garner a lot of defensive respect because he never looked to the basket.
Now, in fact, we're going to store that in the archives as one of the few shots he's taken.
Also back it out now.
Good player ball movement, but it's all on the periphery of the offense. There's no inside offense.
House created that shot, but missed it. Comes back down to the hands of Uric Kelly, who short arms it. And finally, Luton controls.
The weakness right now of Arizona State's offense is it lacks any kind of potent inside offensive scoring game.
Nice play by House to reach in and tie up.
Number 22, Patrick Beverly. In the Huskies lineup for number 50, Todd McCullough.
Arrow is Washington's. Here's another look. Just quick hands here.
Very active hands. Washington's going with the two-point guard offense now, Barry.
Walcott missed off the glass, and we got a foul away from the ball. Got House.
Foul number 5, Eddie
He's going
House.
to put Walcott at the free throw line.
18 foul. Chris Walcott at the line for
Huskies
2
with
shots.
4 substitutes and 1 starter on the floor. Bob Bender must want to try to make a late 2-minute run at him.
Well, he's been playing McCullough in a different pattern than he was playing earlier in the season. Todd had a tendency to get himself in early foul trouble. He's only got 1 tonight, and Bob Bender will take that. I just think this guy's just done a terrific job.
I think he's one of the really outstanding basketball coaches in the country. He's doing it in a patient manner. He's doing it in the right manner. He's not sacrificing academic integrity to try to win quick.
And he's starting to keep the local players home. And if you look around the Pac-10 Conference, there's just a ton of players out of the city of Seattle who are playing in places other than Seattle.
And they have a 7-footer in the state of Washington over in Chelan. That's really a big-time prospect. There'll be an intense battle between Washington State and Washington for that young man, along with the whole host of schools the length and breadth of America.
Well, Bob does have a fellow by the name of Dan Dickow, who is a point guard out of Vancouver. Pretty good size point guard, too, at 6'5", coming in. And a lot of people feel if there's any glaring problem on this Huskies team, it might be at that position.
Well, Dan Dickow is a textbook point man. He's really a player that becomes an extension of the coaching staff. He understands how the game should be played.
Walcott really didn't know that ball was coming to him. Thompson said, that one was for you, pal. 3:58 remaining, first half, 9-point game. Huskies 33, Sun Devils 24. Don't go away. We're coming back. 33-24 ball game. Cheerleaders saying we're number 1. Obviously, a set of cheerleaders that is hard into the books because they're not reading the papers.
And they're not reading the scoreboard.
That's true. There's that too. 3:52 remaining first half. 9-point lead, Huskies. Very quiet crowd here as you look at the big rebounding edge for the Huskies. That's not surprising. Veal with a jumper. Veal with 9 points here in the first half. Remember, as we said earlier, he's at 30 the first time these two teams hooked up in Seattle.
It appears that Arizona State's going to try to get back in this game the hard way with a strictly perimeter offense.
Bob Bender playing 2 point guards now, and Wooten and Thompson.
It's not a very strong offensive team on the floor now.
7 seconds on the shot clock, and Luton's going to have to look to shoot here. Dumps it down instead to Sanford, who draws a crowd and also draws a foul. No, they didn't. 3-second call. Second time that call has been made against this team. 8th turnover.
You still got to move.
That time, Arizona State benefited from having 3 officials on the floor. The offside official saw Frimerling camped in the lane. He said, son, you're going to have to pay rent.
Paid the price, I'll tell you that. It's a 7-point game, and the Sun Devils could chip away a little bit more here. Do a clear out for Veal. 8 seconds, 7. Batiste gonna have to do something with it. 3 seconds, 2, and Veal puts it off balance, shot up. That was not what Bill Frieda wanted out of that possession. Drop it down low for Sanford, and a bad pass again.
And Barry, at the top of the broadcast, you had suggested that Arizona State would play some zone, and on the last 2 possessions, they've gone to a very aggressive 2-3 zone.
And it's been very effective. Just a reminder, at halftime, we'll be looking at probably the guy who most people are talking about as the likely winner of the John Wooden Award, Tim Duncan. John Wooden Award brought to you by EuroHealth Systems.
Well, he'll win a lot more awards than the John Wooden Award.
Yes, he will.
I mean, even Stevie Wonder knows he's the college player of the year.
There's a rejection by Farrington. That's number 112.
We might be seeing the start of a little mini run here.
Nice play by Farrington. And just like that, 3-point game. Sun Devils on a run here, George.
An 8-0 run. Coming into the game, the Arizona State coaching staff had set one of their offensive goals to be to get some transition baskets, to beat their big men down the floor for easy baskets, and that was a great example of it. Their big man outran Washington's big man.
And that's not often done, actually, against the Huskies. Huskies' transition defense pretty darn good.
And especially against Frimmerling, because he has very good feet and he runs very well for a 7-footer.
It's the run we spoke of a moment ago. Donald Watts penetrates, draws a foul, grab this time.
You look at Bill Fruiter, he looks like President Clinton should look when they're asking him about all these donations to the Democratic Fund.
He looks like President Clinton when he gets out of bed.
Look at Freeds. I'd like to know who his barber is. In fact, I'd like to know if he has a barber.
Cuisinart, I think it is. There's Donald Watts' dad, Slick, who has been on mostly road trips with the Washington Huskies.
Well, we know where his retirement money's going. You know, that's a great example, Barry, to see a parent so supportive of their child. Because across America today, a lot of parents have surrendered their obligation to raise their children.
Well, not only that, too, the other thing I really like about Slick is he lets the coach coach. He's supportive without being intrusive.
And that's hard to do when you're a former outstanding pro player. There's a tendency to want to coach the team. You know, a number of years ago, Barry, when Lenny Wilkins was coaching the Sonics, he called me about sending his son over to the basketball camp at Washington State, and I said to him, is Randy any good? He says, George, never ask a parent to evaluate their child.
That's absolutely true. Thompson back into the game now as Veal knocks down his 10th point. The numbers on Jeremy Veal, but it's the way he's finished this season that have been most impressive.
He's a lock for all Pac-10 honors.
There was a couple of games where Bill Fruiter didn't start him. He was so disappointed in the way Jeremy Veal was performing early in the year.
And they're trapping out of that zone, Barry.
Oh, and they got Brewer.
But he looks like the absent-minded professor. I mean, he just looks like...
What happens is Arizona State allows Washington to start to walk into their offense, and just as they walk in, they spring that aggressive trap on them. What they'll begin to understand is once you have the player trapped, you have performed your duty. Do not reach in and compound the situation by fouling the player.
Had a quick look at George McCorn, who's kind of the coach's coach, isn't he?
There's not a better assistant coach on the West Coast than George McCorn. He really sees the game through a different set of eyes.
George's last year here at ASU. He will pack his bags, building a home in Las Vegas.
For all the youngsters watching, his son-in-law is Babyface, the great music producer.
So I asked him if he was at the Grammy Awards last night. His son-in-law got a heck of a lot more TV time than George just did, I'll tell you that. Meantime, it's a 2-point ball game here as that zone has really worked. But this time, a nice look inside from Thompson to Femmerling for the basket.
Thompson kept his dribble alive, but more importantly, he kept his vision inside He knew if he was double teamed somewhere on the floor must be a vacant Husky, and he found it.
Devils will play for the last shot. 13 seconds, 12, and they'll drop down and let Jeremy Veal create here. They brought Batiste off the wing the last time. This time nothing fancy, just Veal from 3 and it won't go. Did he leave him too much time? 1 second, Luke tosses it up, it won't go, and the first half comes to an end with the Washington Huskies, who once had a 10-point lead, have it shaved down to 4, but still maintain the edge at the end of the first 20 minutes. It's the Huskies 38 and the Sun Devils 34. We're coming back. 38-34 ball game. Sparky's all jacked up. See, I don't mind Sparky. Sparky's all right. You know why? Because he didn't want to shake hands with you. All those ducks and beavers and trees that want to shake hands with you, I got a problem with that. No problem with inanimate objects who want to be my friend. Jeremy Veal.
And the Sun Devils come right out of the locker room firing. And they're in that 2-3 zone.
John Luton just steps in, sticks it. This second half starting off very much like the first half.
I think Bill Frieder feels we got ourselves back in the game defensively with the zone, so let's stay with it.
Defensive set that time by the Huskies. Farrington not in the ball game. Start the second half. I beg your pardon, he is in the ball game. Veal misses the 3. Sanford with the rebound. I would have to think that they will try to jam this inside and try to pick up the 4th foul on Farrington before too very long. There they do. Again, McCullough gets it back. Travel.
He might have walked, but he did an excellent job of keeping the ball alive on the offensive boards. He has really soft hands. And he gave us a good exhibition of offensive rebounding, keeping the ball alive.
11th turnover for the Dogs. The Sun Devils have only turned it over 7 times. So they give it go to House.
Nice job of setting that play up by cutting toward the passer and then back cutting for an open basket. It's the old saying, what's in the mind of the passer must be in the mind of the receiver.
Well, that time, there's a little miscommunication between passer and receiver, and House steps in front. Now, Sun Devils can take the lead. Farrington puts it on the floor, and Batiste lost the handle.
A wasted opportunity for an easy basket.
Booker draws the foul.
Booker's used to contact. He was an outstanding football player in high school, recruited by such teams as Alabama and USC and Notre Dame.
He's been talking about playing a little football this last year at Washington.
Yep. One of 11 children.
That'll make it tough.
It'll make you quick, too.
Yep. A couple of guys in this conference who are pretty darn good basketball players who also could possibly go on and play football.
No, I'm talking about USC, right? You had it on your lips.
I did. Go ahead.
Stace Bozeman.
I think he will play football.
Get into it.
All-American quarterback.
Get into it.
This is really an aggressive zone that the Sun Devils are putting on display right now. They're good movement, very active.
Good play right there by House to Veal to the basket. Bill Frieder wanted a foul on top of it. Veal was 16.
And the 22nd by Bob Bender.
Sun Devils have taken a lead in this ball game.
What I like about this zone is they spring the trap on occasion, but they stay very active. They rally to the basketball, and as they rally to the basketball, their hands are extremely active.
Well, I tell you, Freed might have had a case for a little hack on top of that. Well, not that bad.
Just a little love tap on the head.
Well, last time, Sun Devils led the ball game. The score was 4-2, and now here they are with a 1-point lead, 16:49 remaining.
And that last basket by Jeremy Veal brought this crowd alive.
Veal was 16 in the ball game. Almost got a piece of that one.
A resurrection of the crowd.
Dogs seem a little out of sync right at the moment.
They're really struggling trying to find the soft spots in the zone.
Uri Kelly just snatched the ball from Todd McCullough. Veal got in the air, got it to Batiste. And Booker with a rebound. And again, a wasted chance.
Batiste should have passed that back out. He had 3 men on him, but you could tell when he first caught the ball, his mind was made up. He was going to try to score.
McCullough again off the glass, and Farrington has to be at least a little bit careful.
If Washington will start the ball away from McCullough in the zone and then quickly reverse it, they can dump it down to him for an easy basket.
Farrington trying to urge this crowd on. That might be a good idea. This crowd has been very quiet so far tonight. Dion Luton with his third three.
That young man's going to end up being one of the best three-point shooters in the conference as a junior and a senior.
He's going to foul this time on Mark Sanford.
Foul number 3, Mark Sanford, his second. First team foul.
We welcome those of you who are watching on Fox Sports Southwest. You had a pretty good game that you were watching as Minnesota beats the Mavs in double OT. It's a 2-point ball game right here. Washington 45, Arizona State 43. We have 15:24 remaining in this one. So a grab bag where you are and a grab bag here. We're coming back. Well, Todd McCullough sitting on the bench right now, Rav, and that's a pretty big load.
Thus far, he has 12 points and 4 rebounds, and he's shooting 5 for 9 from the field. A substantial contribution by the big fellow from Canada.
Alan Lewis in the ball game for the first time. And Lewis was out here for a couple of hours before the game, just moving around the perimeter, shooting shots, knocking a lot of them down.
I got here at 5:45, Barry, and he was shooting when I arrived. You used to show up early to shoot when you played, didn't you, Barry?
Yeah, and you saw how much good it did me, right? House. Pretty good look that time from the House.
Both of ASU's last 2 shots were quick shots, and in my opinion, ill-advised shots.
Saw that graphic a moment ago. Sun Devils taking care of the basketball, and the Huskies going the other way here. Batiste fills the lane.
And Bob Bender is most upset. He's waving to the bench, and he's getting Donald Watson to the game.
That's a rare mistake from Booker. Booker, a heady player. And again, a little bit of a lazy pass. House just very disruptive on the defensive end.
Good offensive zone attacks include a pass fake and a shot fake.
Well, Luton had a good look, missed that 3, and Farrington with a rebound, and now once again the Sun Devils can take the lead.
The principal reason Washington's throwing the ball away on offense is they are not pass faking the basketball.
Block this time on House.
Hey, you got the high post. When you have an aggressive zone, such as what the Sun Devils are playing, you want to try to take advantage of their aggressiveness with pass faking and shot faking.
The third foul on House. Take another look here.
It looked like House was fouled. I'm not certain that Washington realizes
Luton open for three again. Had a good look that time and pulled the trigger. That's his 4th three.
The reason I hesitated, Barry, because it looked like ASU had gone back to a man-to-man defense, but they really just had extended the zone.
Well, they'll let Farrington beat him with that shot if he can. Here come the Huskies again now with a 3-point lead in the ball. They reverse it for Watts and almost made it too tall. Sanford been very quiet here in the second half. Hadn't even had a lot of touches. Wooten open for three, missed off the right side. There's Sanford underneath the putback and the foul, reaching in from behind on Uric Kelly.
Mark Sanford's been huge on the boards in this game. He had 7 rebounds at halftime, far and away the leading rebounder in the game.
Well, I gave that foul to Uric Kelly, and in fact, it is going to go against Richardson.
If you notice, in Washington's zone offensive attack, the players tend to remain static. There's not a lot of player movement. There's good ball movement, but not good player movement against the zone. Mark Sanford, 11 rebounds. This has to be one of his best all-around games. He is shooting 50% from the field at halftime, 50% on the three-point, and he had 3 assists and 1 turnover. Balanced game for Mark Sanford.
He's really made Bob Bender very happy this year with the attitude that he came back with after the draft. Knows he's got a lot to learn. He does. And I would suspect he probably will be back at Washington once again. And dare I say he should be.
He's going to be back. He announced in the paper last week that he was going to come back. He said he saw no reason to leave. And I concur with him.
That's going to make this team very much a contender next year. Gervin, there's a guy with no conscience. Boy, talk about being in the genes.
Smart.
Gervin, of course, the son of George Gervin.
It's really discouraging for defensive players when you work hard like they're working on defense, and then you come down and you take quick, ill-advised shots, or you turn around and throw the ball out of bounds. It defeats all of that aggressive, intense labor on defense being displayed by the Sun Devils.
Farrington, or rather, well, it was Farrington, barking at his teammates after that.
Bill Frieder has to be pleased with the active hands that his players have consistently displayed on defense, particularly in not committing fouls.
Gervin in a cameo appearance here, and I think that shot probably had something to do with it being as short as it was.
I don't think Frieder had to say anything to that young man. He got the message.
Good hands once again. Batiste knocks it away. Here come the Devils, 2-on-2 to the basket. Offense. Lewis, a little bit out of control.
That is now 3 of the last 4 possessions. The Sun Devils have not been able to take advantage of the sterling defense that they're playing at the other end of the floor. Part of the problem on that fast break was there was poor spacing.
Nice look that time from Femerling to Sanford going to the basket, and he'll go to the line for 2.
Now the number 40, Uric Kelly, is first.
Mark Sanford's a 72% foul shooter. Certainly not a young man you want to put on the foul line. And this is an excellent foul shooting team, this Washington basketball team.
Really a pivotal point in the game, too, George. Arizona State had a chance to cut it to 2 or maybe even less, and here we are again, that 4-point situation. Sanford misses the first one. They'll have another to try to give the Huskies a 5-point lead, but it's really one of those swing times in a game. And he missed them both. That's very out of character.
Opportunity continues to stare the Sun Devils in the face. They're knocking them on the door. Opportunity's knocking on the door, and Arizona State will not let them in.
Field open.
Put the ball in the hands of a scorer.
Watts got on the baseline, and nice play by Sanford to control it and kick back to Luton, who sticks his 5th 3 of the game, and he's the difference for Washington.
His jump shot is as soft as a baby's bottom.
Number 23, Jamie Booker into the Huskies lineup. Official timeout.
So we'll take a timeout. Bill Frieder going to talk it over. Washington 52, Arizona State 47. 11-10 remaining to be played. Winning, but winning big over USC. And again, it's the old Mac Court. And that is a tough place to play. 2 very good teams, though, in the women's hoops.
Person Mac Court.
You know all about that, don't you? 8 seconds on the shot clock, and House missed the 3. Watts open. Couldn't get it to go. Farrington did just enough flying at him, and Femmerling runs down the rebound. Good effort for the big man. Now they'll reset. Thompson penetrates, finger rolls, won't go. And they're going to get Thompson reaching in on Veal.
Thompson's job right now is, number 1, to recognize what defense Arizona State is in and put his team in the appropriate offense. That time, Chris Thompson did not recognize the fact that Arizona State was in a man-to-man defense.
So again, the Sun Devils just not going away here as we approach the halfway mark of the second. Veal posting Luton up that time, gives it up to Batiste, tough shot. Femmerling with a good defensive effort.
Batiste has to learn to pass the ball back outside in difficult post situations. He's forced a number of shots up out of the post.
That time he showed some good hands and just took it away from Femmerling. Another kind of sloppy turnover on the Huskies.
Well, they had 31 turnovers the last time they played ASU.
10 in this half. Gonna get Booker down under the basket, fouling Farrington. Todd McCullough will come back into the Washington lineup.
Booker is third, 14th foul. Todd McCullough into the Huskies lineup for number 22, Patrick Femmerling.
Third foul on Booker. Steals, Arizona State 9 steals, and a lot of them have just been kind of sloppy ball handling. House wide open for that.
Deion Luton has really given Washington a substantial contribution off the bench. He's 6 for 10 from the field for 17 big points.
Travel on Donald Watts.
And of those 17 points, he's 5 for 7 on 3-point shots.
Tried to give it up that time. Well, he must have listened to you, but he didn't see Booker coming down. And the ball's going to be, well, now we got a little discussion. Jerry White, Charlie Range will kick it around, and it's going to be Devils ball.
Mike Batiste just has to become a little bit more patient. He has a tendency to rush into mistakes.
There's a guy who's only been with the Sun Devils for about 2/3 of this season. Veal, great movement without the ball, almost too easy.
The Sun Devils have had a bucket full of opportunities to get back in this game. Not only get back in it, but to take a lead.
And the Huskies just haven't been able to put them away. The Sun Devils are still there and still hanging around if they ever cash in on those opportunities.
What this 2-3 zone by Arizona State has done, 1, it's reduced the athletic ability of Washington, and number 2, it's forced Washington to stand around a lot on offense. And it's spread their offense so they can't get to the offensive boards as quickly.
So look at the man who designed this defense, Caleb McCorn. Booker with a terrific rebound, a reach in, and if that's on House, it's his 5th. And And it is. So 5 on 5, and that's going to be it for House. And Garrett Kelly will replace him. It gives him a little size, but it certainly cost him some scoring punch.
Well, this young man had been averaging 16 points a game over the last 5 games for Arizona State, so that they cut it. Washington's done a good job. They cut his production in half.
Booker short. Huskies, good free throw shooting team, but just can't seem to get one to go. And still they have possession.
It's really fascinating watching Todd McCullough play. His hands are so soft, the ball just sticks to it.
Interestingly enough, though, Farrington had 3 fouls at the half and has not picked up another foul. Now, last week, when the Huskies played Stanford up in Seattle, Tim Young had 3 fouls, and they went right to him in the second half. They have not opted to do that this time. Going to grab on Batiste, will put Sanford at the line.
That's 19 fouls on ASU.
They're going to give this foul to Farrington. It's going to be his 4th. I thought they called Batiste, but it's Farrington.
Well, despite his protests, he must understand that he did grab Mark Sanford by the arm as he went by. Maybe he's just trying to shake his hand.
Maybe. Could be. It's a sportsmanship. Yeah. And again, Huskies very uncharacteristically just cannot get a free throw to fall, and it's one of those games. They're 9 of 17 at the free throw line, George, and you mentioned they're one of the better free throw shooting teams in the conference. And Sanford, 72% shooter, 1 of 5.
What this Arizona State zone has also done, it's kind of mesmerized Washington. They lack a lot of the energy they displayed in the first half of the basketball game.
Nice look that time. Farrington couldn't get it over McCullough, who did a good job just to hold his ground, but not the second time. And they will get McCullough.
Number 3, Gene Gervin into the Sun Devils lineup. For number 44, Roger Farrington.
I want to welcome those of you on Fox Rocky Mountain. Where have you been? We marked you absent. Well, you're here now watching the Stars beat the Avalanche 6-2, and we got a 3-point ball game with 8:06 remaining, and the Washington Huskies are just kind of hanging around, waiting on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Right at the moment, it's one of those games that neither team seems to really want to go out and grasp by the throat.
What happens is too often when a team has the lead, they play to protect the lead instead of trying to increase the lead. And in my opinion, Washington's trying to protect this lead when they should be trying to increase the lead.
And we got to point out again that this is a game that the Huskies absolutely have to have. I mean, I absolutely believe that if they lose this game, they will not get into postseason. They happen to make it in the NIT. They won't get in the NCAA tournament. So this one they got to win. And there's some question as to whether or not they have to win against Arizona. But by all means, they have to beat USC and UCLA at home next weekend. It's a tough road.
Well, if it was me, I'd rather have an angry bull chasing me around for an hour.
Sun Devils, after shooting pretty well in the first half, have gone a little bit dry here in the second half. In fact, neither team is shooting the ball particularly well in the second half. Sanford, good look. Sanford now has 10 points, but he's been very productive in this ball game.
At the timeout, I watched Bob Bender as he talked with his assistants, and I could kind of read their lips. They want to get that ball down on the baseline in the back of that zone.
Batiste stuck a 3. He's got 13 points, but again, that's a shot that I know you as a coach, you don't want to see that.
That scares me when he makes one of those. Because the temptation is to continue to shoot it. You always want a non-shooter to think it's his night.
Shot doesn't go off the hand of Booker, and Sanford runs down another rebound. Now kick it out and reset with 6:55 left. 13 rebounds in the ball game now for Sanford. And we're going to get a foul on grab on Watts.
Well, he's headed for it. He's got a double-double.
It's McCullough that they call the foul on, not Watts. And we'll take a timeout with 16:51 remaining in the ball game. It is a 2-point game, a game that is there for the taking, and neither team right at the moment is taken. We're coming back. 54-52 ball game, 6:51 remaining to be played. A game that's there, as we said, for the taking. I've always thought it's tough being a basketball coach. It may be tougher being a basketball coach's wife. That's Alice Bender.
She looks a little nervous herself. You read that body language, and she's grieving for her hubby.
And there is Bud. So that's score a moment ago. Arizona over Washington State by 14. So they'll be waiting for the Huskies down in Tucson. Veal sticks it. And the Sun Devils have taken the lead as Veal puts his 21st point on the board. And again, a bad pass inside. Kelly got a hand on it. Batiste controls it. Here come the Sun Devils again. Something we were just talking about this in the break, George.
This 2-3 trapping zone allows Arizona State to exploit their quickness and their ability to move into the passing lanes. And with their quick hands, they constantly get their hands on balls.
Seconds, and Veal takes it, missed it hard. Farrington gets the long rebound. They'll reset. Batiste thought about it, didn't he?
Yeah, and Veal was yelling, Mike, Mike, Mike. Give me that basketball, you fool.
That's where they want the ball right now in the hands of Veal. Give it up to Batiste for the leader, and he missed it. That was a good shot. Kelly will give another chance.
And all of a sudden, Arizona State's controlling the backboard.
And Farrington sticks the shot. And that's another shot that you would say, fine, go ahead, take that.
Well, when Farrington and Batiste are hitting outside shots, you're on a definite roll. Jamie Booker's got to start taking some looks at the basket. When he's catching the ball, he's got to be a little more aggressive, Barry.
You're at Kelly. Steps into the path of Jamie Booker, and Booker will go to the line. It'll be 2 shots now. That's a 10th team foul against the Devils.
Foul number 40, Eric Kelly, his second.
20 turnovers for the University of Washington. They're on a pace to match the 31 they had last time against Arizona State.
Batiste will leave. You can see he still favors that knee.
He's given him a solid performance, though. He goes out of the game with 11 points.
Booker's got 4. That's the first free throw in the last 7 that the Huskies have made. Conversely, Arizona State has not been to the free throw line in this half, right?
Here we go, here we go.
Well, a lot of that's because their offense in the second half has been a jump shooting offense. This is a disciplined defensive team Washington has on the floor. They're not going to foul a shooter.
This is Kelly. He brings Booker with him. Veal puts it on the floor. Got right by Luke.
It's most impressive that when Jeremy Veal goes to the basket, he goes with a sense of gusto. He really goes in there and challenges the big man. He says, big fella, see if you can get this one.
And another turnover. Veal steps in the passing lane. He's got 25, and the Sun Devils have a 5-point lead.
And that's 10 steals for Arizona State. And the crowd's on their feet. There's not a lot of them here, but those that are here they sound like a 10,000 crowd.
Booker had the shot that time. Instead, he steps in and forced the shot. Sanford with the fortuitous rebound for the Dogs.
Sanford has been a monster on the backboard.
14th rebound and the putback for Sanford. 3-point lead. Sun Devils with the ball. Veal again, the finger roll off the glass. And he's just out quicking Luton right now.
Well,
The toughest thing in the 90s for college basketball players to do is to defend the dribble.
Booker open for three, missed the shot, and underneath we're going to get a grab foul. That's a break for the Huskies.
Jeremy Veal has hit enough outside jumpers now to keep the defense honest. When they come rushing out, he breaks the defense down with dribble penetration.
Well, I'll take Luton out. They'll bring Donald Watts, who normally is probably a better defender than Luton would be. Beyond just a freshman. But remember that Watts not 100% playing on a sore ankle. And I would have to think Veal will try to challenge it. Sanford rolls it in. He has 13 to go with 14 rebounds.
I'm a little surprised that Washington hasn't done more dribble penetration against this zone.
1 out of 2 as the free throw shooting problems continue for Mark Sanford. Now 2 of 7.
I'd like to see the Washington point guards dribble the ball into gaps and distort coverage in the zone. I think they'll find a few more easy shots for themselves.
Farrington. McCullough the foul. And that is his 4th. And at this point, I would have to think Bob Bender will stay with Todd McCullough.
At this juncture with 2:54 to go, clock management becomes critical for both teams' points guards.
Farrington has contributed 11 points in the ballgame and has been a factor in the defensive game. And we'll take a timeout. 2:54 remaining in the postseason hopes of the Washington Huskies hinge on their being able to come back from a 6-point deficit. 65-59 ball game. ASU over Washington. 2:54 remaining to be played in this one, and the Huskies are going to have to dig down and find something. A reminder to stay tuned for Fox Sports News. It's coming up immediately after the ball game. And the Sun Devils, George, have we were mentioning earlier, they've been sitting around. The Huskies have waiting and waiting and waiting, and the Sun Devils finally responded.
With the 16-5 gigantic run by the Arizona Sun Devils.
Well, the future for the Huskies is right now.
And Arizona State has kind of changed the alignment. They've gone to a 1-2-2 trapping zone.
And the Huskies just have not adjusted well to that. 4-point ball game as Booker got a second chance basket.
It's an absolute must that Washington has to get some player movement and dribble penetration against the zone. They cannot continue to stand around against that zone and pass the ball around the perimeter.
Huskies showing a little zone here.
Good patience by Arizona State, good ball movement.
Farrington missed a shot. That was a high percentage shot. And the Huskies now with a chance to cut into this 4-point Arizona State lead. Skip past the Watts almost a little bit too high.
And how active is this zone? Arizona State has 11 steals.
And Booker has now made the last 5 points. So senior leadership starting to rear its ugly head.
And don't look now, but Jeremy Veal has 27 points on 10 for 19 shooting. And let's add on 4 assists.
Well, he had a career-high 30, as we said, in the last game between these two teams in Seattle. And with House out of the ball game, the scoring load falls to Veal, and Uric Kelly missed a high percentage shot, and now the Huskies can take the lead.
This is a gigantic possession for Washington.
Donald Watts give it up on the baseline, and a travel against Sanford, and couldn't have come at a worse time. 23rd turnover of the ball game. None more costly than that. Well, Bob Bender didn't have any gray hairs, but I'll tell you what, a couple plays like that, a couple games like this, they'll be popping up 1 minute remaining. Arizona State will have the basketball and the lead, 65-64. We're coming back. 1 point ball game. Arizona State over Washington. 1 minute remaining. Sun Devils will have the basketball. So it is at that point now, Rav. Every possession, of course, is a win or lose possession.
And for Washington, every possession carries with it a potential loss of an NCAA tournament bid or a potential invitation to the so-called big dance.
This guy's going to stay with the zone. First time they've showed us the ball game that I can recall the last 2 possessions.
Stealing a page out of Arizona State. But what the zone does, it allows Arizona State to control the tempo and run time off the clock.
Veal comes across the zone, and that's the way to beat it, just like that. 3-point game, 33 seconds left, and a timeout. So the season hinges in the final 31.1 seconds for Bob Bender's Washington Huskies. And Veal has really been a one-man gang offensively for Arizona State. It'll all be wrapped up in less than a minute when we come back. Devils by 3. Here's the story. 31.1 seconds remaining. Arizona State 64, Washington, or rather 67, Washington 64. Huskies will have the ball. Now what do you do here? Take a quick shot, foul, or do you just play for the 3-point shot?
I think you take the first open look that you have at the basket. If it's a 2-pointer, go for the 2-pointer. Don't get sucked into thinking that you have to have a 3-point basket. Take the first basket that's available to you, but do it quickly.
Well, Booker inbounds the ball, and Wooten's going to have to hurry here. And he's pretty casual here.
Well, he's going to force him into having to take a 3-point shot.
They lob it into McCullough. McCullough, the easy basket. Now they got to take a quick foul, and Bill Frieder's going to take a quick timeout. So it is a 1-point game, and now you got to look at who you foul.
The guy on the floor that would be the most likely candidate is Roger Farrington. He's shooting 53% from the foul line. So if you're Bill Frieder, you tell Farrington to take the ball out of bounds, because Bob Bender's probably going to try to foul before the ball comes in bounds. Most coaches would like to foul before the ball comes in bounds so that the whole 20 seconds works for them. Time must be Washington's ally now. It cannot be their enemy.
Let me ask you this, though. Do you not just play for the steal? Then if you don't get the steal off a trap or however you decide to play it, then you go ahead and foul.
That's certainly another way of handling it.
So those are the things that are being discussed right now on both benches. Interestingly enough, Bill Frieder and his staff bring their players all the way out to the free throw line on their side of the court.
In a situation similar to this, Barry, what most coaches will try to do is they'll try to set a single screen or double screen, freeing their best foul shooter to come get the ball. So that would tell me that they're going to try to put the ball in the hands of Jeremy Veal.
It's interesting, too, we're talking about you go for the steal. Well, steals have not exactly been the hallmark of the Huskies tonight.
Well, I started to say that to you, that Washington's not a team that I would think will steal a lot of basketballs.
They have exactly 1 in the ball game so far. ASU with 11. A reminder once again, Fox Sports News coming your way right after we get out of Dodge here, but these last 20 seconds are the most important 20 seconds of the season for the Washington Huskies. And not to mention for Arizona State, they're in the midst of a 7-game drought, and they want to get things headed in the right direction too. So here we go. Farrington will inbound.
And there's the double screen for Jeremy Veal.
Now he's not going to be easy to go catch, and they do. Booker reaches in on him with 18.9 seconds remaining.
Textbook coaching by Bill Frieder. Start Jeremy Veal away from the ball, break a man deep, and then set a double screen, bringing him to the basketball.
Well, he is nearly perfect tonight. 4 of 4. He's got 29 points in the ball game. That is within 1 of his career high, which was 30 not incidentally set against the Washington Huskies. No problem. Now it is still, keep in mind, a one-possession game here, and the clock is not really a factor in that respect.
See if Arizona State gives him a little soft press here,
Just to make them work.
If you're Bill Frieder, you don't want to allow Washington to walk into their offense.
And ASU has done a marvelous job at the free throw line. They are perfect. 9 of 9 at the line. Now that's the difference in the game. Well, George, I know you're a big believer in the fact that body language tells a story, so I won't say anything more than Alice Bender.
Look
And
at
Slick Watts.
everybody in that Washington section has their arms folded. Look at poor Slick. No wonder he has no hair. Well, just as we talked about, Bill Frieder is not going to allow Washington to walk into their offense.
So here we go. 15 seconds remaining. Huskies are 8 of 16 from three-point range. They take it to the rack instead, and a foul will put Wooten at the line for 2, and there's still plenty of time.
Number 44, Roger Ferris.
Now that's an interesting strategy.
That's the limit.
I think that Bob Bender told him to take the first good look that you have at the basket, but do it quickly.
Interesting, too, as George Hill, our ace statistician, points out that Dion Luton, who's 5 of 7 from three-point range, is not in the ballgame.
Bill Frieder snuck in a legal timeout then, Barry, as he called his whole team over to the sidelines. The Washington players thought he was taking a full timeout, and they headed to the bench, and the referee says, hey, let's get back on the floor. No one called timeout. Oh, Freeze is a Fox Hill character.
Well, this is the first time tonight that Wooten has been at the free throw line. He has not scored in the ballgame. And he still hasn't.
And if you notice, Arizona State has all 5 players along the foul line.
Number 22, Patrick Femerling, into the Huskies lineup for Tom McCullough.
Femerling will come into the ball game now as they'll try to take advantage of his long. He has a pretty good reach.
That's a defensive substitution. They'll probably put Femerling on the ball, make it a difficult visibility situation for the inbounds thrower.
1 out of 2 for Wooten, and timeout, 20 seconds by Bob Bender with 10.7 seconds left. It's a 2-point ball game now. But now you've got to depend on Arizona State's missing a free throw. It's our global delivery player of the game, and he is Jeremy Veal, and I don't think you get too many arguments about that. 31 points, a career high. In fact, he's made a career against Washington. 61 points in the 2 games that he's played this year against them.
No argument for me. This inbounds pass, once again, will go to Jeremy Veal. I'm a little surprised that Mike Batiste is taking the ball out of bounds because he's the second best foul shooter on the floor.
Well, they will not defend the inbounds pass. They will instead try to put another body here someplace and maybe trap the ball. Batiste got to hurry. And Booker intercepted. And Booker forced it up in traffic. Got it! Count the basket! Oh, my!
What a turnaround. Give the Huskies all the credit in the world.
Their second steal of the game. And wouldn't you know, it'd be this guy that would make it. And Alice Bender, that's not quite a sigh of relief because it's not over yet.
If we have a replay of that, watch the inbounds thrower. He should have ran the baseline and shortened the pass.
Well, you questioned why he was inbounding the pass to begin with. Booker makes the free throw.
Right, see, he stood still on the inbounds pass.
Coming the other way, off the glass, no good. Femerling, the rebound and a foul. And with 2 seconds left, the Huskies might have dodged a very, very big bullet.
Foul number 24, Mike Batiste, scored in the bonus.
Isn't it amazing? Jamie Booker has just not been a factor in this game until he needed to be.
Now watch the player. He does not run the baseline on that play, and he makes the pass a little longer than he should have, and it put it in a position of risk, and Jamie Booker picked it off.
And Femerling will go to the free throw line. Now, 2.1 seconds, and still stranger things have happened. Femerling makes it a 2-point ball game.
Only a miracle.
And once again, we will get a 20-second timeout from Bill Frieder with 2.1 seconds left.
Only a miracle can provide an opportunity for Arizona State to send this game into overtime.
As great a victory as this would be, and as miraculous a victory as this would be for the Washington Huskies, or let's say improbable rather than miraculous, you got to feel for Bill Frieder.
At the top of the show, we talked about the fact that Frieder's been happy with his team's play. They put themselves in the position to win lately. They just cannot put that final nail in the coffin.
Here are the three-point shooters for...
Well, that graphic is not that relevant because this is going to be a desperation shot here.
Well, it's not even going to happen. Well, Batiste gets the ball. It'll count if it goes, and it doesn't. And this one is over, and Washington is still breathing. And they got to be happy in Seattle because they literally snatched this one away, and I mean literally snatched it. Jamie Booker was the snatcher, and the snatchees were Arizona State.
We had ourselves a real fine basketball game tonight.
Well, Bob Bender and his team will now head down the road to Tucson, and they got another game that's pretty important, but this was the one that they absolutely could not afford to lose. And what do you know? They come back as if by magic and win it 72-69. For George Raveling, I'm Barry Tompkins. Fox News coming up.